So, discover the untapped advantage of disability inclusion in New Zealand's retail sector. In this episode, we're going to explore how inclusive hiring is transforming teams, boosting performance, and connecting retailers with a powerful talent pool. Hear real success stories, practical changes that you can make, and how to build lasting connections with people with a disability and neurodivergence. Kia ora, I'm Carolyn Young, Chief Executive of Retail NZ. Today I'm joined by Phil Turner, who's the Chief Executive with the New Zealand Disability Employers Network. Kia ora and welcome, Phil.
Kia ora, thanks, Caroline. It's an absolute privilege to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about what the disability inclusion advantage is for New Zealand retail teams right now.
Yeah, so disability inclusion means that when we actually have disabled people in our teams and they're a part of who we are, and believe it or not, they are already, you just don't necessarily know it. They might not be talking about it. 70% of disabilities are not disclosed in the workplace. But when we actually start to be deliberate about bringing disability into our organisations, it means our organisations are much better at representing our customer base and bringing that forward all the way through. But then if you take it a step further, disabled talent stay between 50 and 100% longer. They cause less health and safety incidents in the workplace, contrary to popular belief. They increase health and safety outcomes. They take less sick leave. All these things where we think, oh, well, they're disabled, they must take more sick leave. Well, that's actually a misnomer. It's nothing like the truth of the situation. But what's most important here is that we're representing the people that we serve every single day. And when we do that, we are more relatable, more connectable, and ultimately we'll end up more profitable.
Amazing. So, do you have an example or a story that you could provide where, retailers, done really well in this space?
One of the great ones to sort of talk about is where you see the low sensory hours and the low sensory times coming to come into play, and organizations starting to think about what are the sensory needs of the people that we're engaging with. And I think what's become clear is we put those low sensory hours in, for instance, at Woolworths. What I've heard is some stores are experiencing more people attending the stores during those low sensory hours because it's not only benefiting the people it was intended for, but other people who just have preferences those ways as well. And so you got a question then, do we need more of those hours? Because if that's what the customers want. So we're learning from each other and learning to bring things forward. The Westpac as a bank, they're doing fantastic things in their retail side of even making New Zealand Sign Language available to people. But all of a sudden, that created a loyalty that
Yes.
was really connectable. So I can show it in Air New Zealand, I can show it in all sorts of travel industries as well. But if we keep it on retail, that probably Woolworths one is a great start.
And so, for those of us that aren't fully aware of what the low sensory environment might be in a retail store, can you quickly describe that so our viewers can imagine that in their store?
Sure. So when we're talking about sensory is all the things, you've got your five senses, but the big ones are sight. So the level of lighting, the type of lighting, any strobe or flashing lightings, that can be overwhelming for some people. When we're talking about the level of noise that's in the environment, so do we have the music up and pumping? Do we have the ads playing at volume in order to do all the things we've learned over the years are great decisions about engaging and creating connection with our customers actually push some customers aside and
Yes.
some customers away. And so it's thinking about those in particular in regards to light, in regards to sound, and smell is also another big one. Obviously, taste and touch are a little bit more in people's individuals' control, but smell, sight, and
Yeah.
hearing aren't. They're going to become into a person no matter what.
That's a really good thing for retailers to remember. So if we think about a employment environment and you think about a business and their team, what is it that people might look at doing it, changing or enhancing within their team to get the best out of people without knowing whether or not somebody has a disability or not?
And so, what we want to do in regards to in creating that enhanced experience for staff is to start being willing to flex a little bit in the way that we do things. Now, I realize you can't have a different start time in retail because the store needs to be open.
Yeah.
Okay. But that might mean that you could create different, when you got your different rosters, thinking about the people that thrive later, thinking about the people that thrive earlier in the day. Different people, different needs. You don't even have to be neurodivergent to be stronger in one or the
That's
other.
right.
If you're thinking about it from all sorts of fronts, it is actually stopping looking at individuals in your team as solely as a resource, but actually start to look at them as a unique concoction of needs. And they have needs around their gender, they have needs around their sexuality, maybe around their fun hour, maybe around sleep, because the cat did a tap dance on their bladder at 3 a.m. this morning and they didn't quite sleep as well. But they also may have access related needs. And so if we start looking at our people and saying they've got needs, and we know they've got needs. Now, how do I work with them to create a safe environment for them to be able to display those needs? And some of that is bringing disability into your vocabulary. Some of it's about having reasonable accommodations processes that are actually clear and well communicated, and so much more. When we do that, we create a happier workforce, we create connection and a workforce who is able to work at its best. Because when they're too busy covering their own needs, because we're not helping them, they're not working at their best. They're using their personal resources down there. But if we can bring their personal resources and minimize the amount of personal resources they need to spend on that, that's how we create real outcome.
That's a really great suggestion. Now, when we think a little bit about these spaces, how is it that the New Zealand Disability Employment Network would be able to help or support retailers when they're thinking about engaging with people with a disability or that have a neurodivergent ability?
Yeah. So the role we play when we're working with employers is very much that strategic partner. We walk alongside you to help you understand what you want to do and where you want to go at your pace, in your way, and what's going forwards. So many of our larger members participate in a program we call the Accessibility Tech, and that actually has a 360 review across the organization that helps them understand all of their potential barriers and potential issues that are going on, gives them recommendations of things that they could do, but then supports them to create their own action plan aligned with their business plan to actually move things forward in a way that's sustainable and achievable and good for the organization so we don't overwhelm them. So we're here to be that strategic partner. And whether that's in providing training, whether that's in providing that actual full understanding of where you're at, whether that's in connecting to other employers who are also on this journey so you don't feel alone. It all comes together under our umbrella to try and bring it all together.
Amazing. Look, thank you so much for joining us today, Phil. It's been such a pleasure to speak to you and hear about the benefits of disability inclusion.
It's been an absolute pleasure to do so. I can't say how much we appreciate the opportunity to chat and just bring this to the front.
Amazing. Look, I hope everybody enjoyed this episode and don't forget to visit www.nzdden.org.nz to find out more. The episode is part of our Empowering Retail series, which is your go-to resource for short, actionable insights to help take your retail business to the next level. Catch our other episodes and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, ka kite anō. Bye for now.